back to the Tradesman channel, everybody. My name is Jim if you're new here, and if you're not here, we are on part number 3 of our 1890s metal lathe restoration project. As I told you in the last video at the end, this is going to be a long project. Going to be many parts to this one, but that's okay. We haven't done one like this in a long time. Anyway, I stopped at the hazard fraught today on my way home because there's a tool there. Not that I drool over any of the tools at the old hazard fraught, but I tell you, there's some stuff there that can really help you get your projects done, and this time is no different. So let me show you what we got. Well, for 151 Federal Reserve Debt Note Fiat Currency coupons, we picked up a parts cleaner. Let's see what those debt coupons got us. There we go. It's like Christmas time at the old hazard fraught. Who knew that Chinesium could be so exciting? Oh wow, springs. Oh, and some assembly required. Son of a bitch. That's enough to make you insane. Well, look, instructions. And it looks like legs. Down to the fun stuff now. This actually goes together pretty darn easy. Can't really complain. I could, but who's going to listen? So apparently, I'm supposed to loosen these screws up. No, it's not too shabby. Don't want styrofoam bits in there. There we have it. Oh yeah. And the most important thing here. Well, the wand looks to be well made, but what it goes into is just a cheesy piece of plastic. But what do you expect? It is hazard fraught. Looks like a dandy way to Alright, let's see if this thing holds any water, huh? So we're using clean hot water. We'll see how this cheap hazard fraught degreaser works. It says to use it 20 to 1. That's for sissies, but I need more water. Yeah, that should do it. So 10 gallons, that should use about half of this, according to the directions. We'll see how well it works. Alright, first test, but boy, I gotta tell you, this thing makes me want to take a leak. So it did come with a small parts basket. I'm going to try that out also. Put some stuff and marinate down there in the bottom. Let's just see how well this works. That degreaser's not too shabby. I mean, I'm sure there's better. Like I said, I've always been pretty partial to simple green. So from that to that, not too bad. Look at that, doesn't get much easier than that. Keyway, that guy, that has a little wear in it. We may try to replace that. Definitely don't want that, because over time that'll chew that thing right up. have to say that the parts washer is a success. So we ended up cleaning all this stuff up here. Well, this stuff right here. You can see you got the bearing, or the gears really nice. That was just with a wire brush. And we'll, of course I should have dried all these off a little better. But I took the pieces, the small hardware pieces, and I took it to my deburring wheel. It's a Scotch-Brite wheel on my bench grinder. And just barely shined them up and then put it on the buffer. But if you'll notice, I'm not hitting any of the surfaces here that have to, you know, the flat machine surfaces. Let's put it that way. We won't do any of the journals or anything like that. So that's the nut that holds this guy on. I have to take the wire wheel to this and shine this up. This is actually pure rust. This is one of the parts that really wasn't sitting in the oil bath or getting oiled. But I kind of want to see how this looks. So we also did the same thing, deburring wheel on this right here. Just this piece, and then the buffing wheel. Because I like things shiny. Now I'm going to paint a lot of different things, but this stuff I was kind of hoping to really get it on there nicely. This one on like so. And what I'm looking for as I'm doing this, I have a tiny little bit of slop there, but I don't think it's a big deal on this because this part right here isn't really, I don't think, doing much of anything. I think it just sits on there to keep that from wobbling around and grinding against it. I could be wrong. I've been wrong about many things every day. So this nut keeps that adjustable pulley on there. And it helps me too if I start kind of putting this stuff back together as I take it apart, just so that I know I'm not goofing things up. So I have to be careful of these keys. I have one that needs to be replaced on that one right there. So the 97 on this. Now I have to look up the meaning of what those numbers are. Maybe some of you guys may know. Is it just the number of the gear? Of course, this pulley here, that has a number 97 stamped into it as well. And then of course this retaining nut, we also shined up. I like too when you shine things up like that on the buffing wheel, it doesn't rust as much, which is really helpful. And there we go. That's going to drive me nuts, that little busted tooth on there. But I'm liking the way that's coming out. So let's see if we can't get that pulley cleaned up with the wire wheel. Maybe get that on and see what'll happen there. So far, and it's probably going to change as we go, but this pulley, like I said, this is the only really damaged piece on this machine I've seen besides that one leg that we have to do something about. Now I need to get a new key for this, so we'll grab one of those because there's a lot of slop in there. But to be quite honest with you, I'm going to try to find a new pulley for this anyway. But for right now, just so we can kind of see it together, something like that. Not too bad. Our gears are nice and tight on here. I get a little play right there. Very tiny bit, but that's enough, so we'll probably get a new keyway for that also. Those keys aren't... Yeah, we don't want any of that. This is nice and tight. This is beautiful though. Doesn't feel like we got much accomplished tonight. I would say that the parts washer is a definite success, at least for the couple hours I ran it tonight. So we'll see how everything holds up on it. We'll see how long the pump lasts, all that good stuff. Honestly, it's just a regular parts washer bin, so if that thing doesn't hold up, we can always replace it with a higher quality. It's the pump that makes the system anyway. But I should have bought one of those years ago, I'll tell you that. That made a really nice difference. So I tried the Hazard Fraught Degreaser. It's $10 a gallon. Usually, like I said, I like to use Simple Green. I've used it for years on chainsaws, but I gotta say that really cut the crud really well. If you guys remember, these right here were black, coated with grease and caked with grime and everything else. We got in the teeth of the gears clean. Got the gears very clean, and that is just with a wire brush by hand. That didn't touch a machine or anything. So the only things that I that I took on a machine was the parts that aren't going to be, where I don't have to worry about the journals or anything like that, where everything needs to be tight. So this spacer here, we shine that up nice. This we shined up nice with the fine wheel on the grinder, which those fine wheels, if you're using those, they're dangerous. They whip the wires everywhere. They'll hit you in the gut. I know of people who've had them launched under the skin, so be careful of those. When I'm running those, I try to keep it pointed so my body and my eyes are not in the path of any of those flying pieces, because it's going to happen. Doesn't matter what kind of quality ones you buy, it's going to happen. So be aware of that when you're using those. Obviously, I should be a lot better about my PPE, and I'm not. That's on me. That's on nobody else. That's strictly on me. That's how she looks. So I'm pleased with that. I'm not decided yet on what I'm going to paint and what I'm going to polish. Probably the main body of the actual lathe, the headstock itself. We'll strip it down. We'll paint it. I think any of the gears we're going to shine up as nice as we can. Any of the shafts we're going to shine up as nice as we can. Now I did hit the entire shaft with the buffing wheel just to get any embedded rust out, but it's not enough where I changed any of the tolerances. That's what I'm really concerned about as I do this. I don't want to do anything that's going to change tolerances, because what will happen if I do that is this thing is going to get off. It's not going to work right. I'll be fighting it, and it just won't be worth it. So other than that, anything I do with this is just to polish that up, make everything else go together nicely, but it is not changing, like I said, any of the tolerances. Like I said, I'm highly impressed with just how tight everything on this is for the age of it. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I really hope you're enjoying this series. I am highly enjoying doing this project. So I will catch you on the next one.